For the last 6 months, I have been living back in San Francisco, which is not on my short list for favorite cities, but it has one thing going for it, which is that both my and my boyfriend's families live here. And since I was unemployed, it only made financial sense for us to be back home for the time being.
Albie's priority is all of his tech. My priority is all of my clothes.
And after months of rejections and ghosting and nearly giving up, I finally signed an offer letter and it was time to pack up our things once again to return back to New York where our life was last put on pause.
This cube. You want the packing cube, right? So pack. It's gonna have you do mine.
Okay, we are all packed up. We're on our way to the airport. This is mostly all my stuff in the back here. I should probably mention that I woke up this morning to a text from United saying our flight was canceled. So that was great. I got on the computer right away, booked us a new flight. So I got us the last two aisle middle seats on this next flight that was an hour later. I refreshed the page. Every single flight for the rest of the day was sold out within 5 minutes. Very close call. We also had a bit of a time trying to rearrange our suitcases because they were all overweight. And I don't know why I always wait till 30 minutes before we have to leave to finish packing. It's a very chaotic morning.
I'm excited, of course, beyond excited, but a part of me is also nervous. The last time I was in the city, I had a lot of great moments, sure, but I also had a lot of difficult time adjusting. My mental health was at an all-time low, and in some ways, it was a relief to be forced out. No more pressure or expectations or worrying that you're not living this version of yourself that the city expects you to be. Checking in from our New York apartment, sublet. We're gonna be staying here for the next month while we look for wherever our new home is gonna be for the next year. No pressure at all. Thought it would be cool to document the whole apartment hunting process. And then we're gonna be moving in, getting our stuff out of storage, furnishing the new place. So lots of exciting stuff in the works. And I always find this interesting seeing apartment tours, not just in New York, but anywhere in the world, and seeing how people choose their homes and go about the process. Of course, I'm gonna have to squeeze it in between work and editing and just getting resettled in the city. So my head might explode at some point. If you see that, don't be alarmed. For some reason, I thought that moving across the country and starting a new position would be simple, and yeah, it's not, but it's okay. We're here. We're just gonna go with it. I miss the city a lot. So even though I love making videos and I frankly live a lot of my life online, I don't fit in with the fresh college grads who are out drinking espresso martinis in their Durf Avenue wardrobes. Not that there's anything wrong with those things. I mean, I love a good cocktail and a quality pair of pants, and of course I still care about my friends and fashion and spending afternoons at gentrified coffee shops pretending like I'm not the same as every other transplant, making the city more expensive by the year, but it's a little different now. Going for a driving tour of Brooklyn. What a juice.
Hey, get the camera out of my face. Come on. Get out of my business.
I have a day job. I don't drink often. I prefer to thrift my clothes. I like waking up early on a Sunday, and that's also okay, even in a city like New York. So even though we lived in Manhattan the first time we were here, we were mostly focused on Brooklyn this time around just to get a little bit more space, a little bit more trees, and a little bit more of that neighborhood feel. We had put our stuff into storage last summer with the intention of only being gone for a few months while we traveled. And that few months unintentionally turned into a year. So we wanted to go check on the place and make sure all our stuff was okay.
Dun-dun-dun. Is everything okay? Smells a little musty, but...
So because we had our friend's car for the day, we decided to make a quick trip to Walmart on the way back into the city. We just need to pick up a few essentials like a charging cable for the car since both our phones were about to die.
Oh, thank goodness.
As well as just some general groceries and household goods for our sublet. Unfortunately, we forgot that Sundays in New Jersey actually have blue laws, which are these antiquated rules that you can't buy anything that is unessential.
I don't know if we're gonna be able to buy towels, and we don't have any at the apartment, and I have not showered since we've been here.
So if you need food or medicine, that's totally fine, but things like household goods, kitchen items, and towels,
hey, that's illegal,
are actually illegal to buy.
Ignore Albie's voice if you can hear it. He's on a call right now. Also ignore the fire trucks outside. So I just finished most of my work for the day. Probably gonna have to do some more later this evening, but we're gonna take a break to go check out our first apartment. This is actually a building that one of my friends lives in. I'm actually texting someone else right now who is neighbors with my other friend to see if we can take over her lease as well. So might get to have friends as neighbors for the next place we live, which would be an awesome bonus. Haven't done that since college. I'll bring you guys along for that. So I started scheduling different viewings viewings this week just so we can get the ball rolling, and I forgot how stressful it is to look for apartments. Going in person, seeing these places, almost none of them have open houses. It's all by appointment. So you have to reach out by email and give people a list of times. Then they get back to you with the times, but I'm also managing my work calendar with Albie's work calendar. Someone might come back to you with a time and suddenly we have like a meeting during that time, or another broker got back to us and now we've already booked another place during that time slot. Long story short, I realized I never want to be an EA. But yeah, I'm just trying to accept this season of chaos right now. Yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling and I will take you guys along to this first apartment tour.
This first apartment was in Gowanus, a small neighborhood between Carroll Gardens and Park Slope. It was in a luxury rental building, which meant lots of nice amenities like a gym and rooftop and hosting areas, and all the finishes and appliances were very new and modern. They had floor-to-ceiling windows for lots of natural light, but the space itself was quite small, and it'd be a struggle to fit 2 work areas for Albie and I, not to mention there was only 1 tiny closet for all of our things. They also showed us a second unit and tried to downplay the fact that it was overlooking a rundown empty lot. We just didn't feel like this place was big enough for us, and it was already out of our budget. The second unit was in a condo building and the current tenant showed us around. I fell in love with this place immediately. It had a huge open layout, tons of room for workspaces, giant windows overlooking greenery, and 2 walk-in closets. I also appreciated that the kitchen was somewhat separate.
I just got my hair trimmed a couple days ago and I'm still figuring out how to style my bangs, I guess. It's day 2 of apartment hunting. Out of the 2 places we saw, the first one was a little bit out of budget and we didn't really feel that the apartment itself and the location really warranted what we would be paying. So that was a no. The second one we absolutely loved. Didn't get a lot of footage on it because there was someone living there and I didn't want to just have a camera in her face the whole time. It's in a great location, great for transportation, lots of greenery to walk to, lots of restaurants around, has a very big open layout, big open windows, lots of lighting, just pretty much checked all the boxes. There's like walk-in closets, a gym, rooftop. I emailed the landlord, but I haven't heard back yet. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna be gone within the day. So I'll keep you updated on that. We still have a couple other showings today that I am excited for, but we're gonna go see those after work. I have like a 6-hour meeting today I have to get through first.
So this is me documenting my return to the city, what it's like moving here again, living and working as a relatively normal person, I guess, although I understand everyone's definition of normal can vary, and also as someone who is relatively introverted, has social anxiety, and who will never be defined as cool by any standard definition of that word. Honestly, my hope is that if anyone looks at my videos in the future and sees them as aspirational, it's not because of how much my apartment costs, or the things I buy, or the clothes I wear, or even because I live in New York. I want people to look up to me because I'm not afraid to be who I am, because I passionately pursue all that I want, because I'm willing to sacrifice to get to where I want to be, because I'm a loyal friend, because I'm honest and authentic, even if that means I complain too much, and because I have a good attitude in hard times. Those are the things I want to be known for, and the person I want to be this time around living in New York City.
Get me out of this situation. These guys have been great. This is like a small detail, no one cares, I do. Just because it speaks more or less to like what the work they do. Like a lot of people.
I met up with my friend Ange to view a new building that had just gone up in Clinton Hill. The owners were very big on design and you could tell in all the details of each unit. The best part in my opinion was the kitchen, which had these beautiful light finishes and baby blue backsplash. Also, every unit came with its own balcony and one of them even had a 700 square foot terrace. I was almost sold, but the units in our budget were just a hair too small, and again, it would be too difficult to set up multiple workstations. It was also in a more isolated area with only the G line, so getting into the city would be a pain for someone who is already quite lazy like myself. This last unit we toured was incredible. It was over 1,000 square feet with these giant 5-pane bay windows. It had a full kitchen, like a full-size fridge, stove, oven, and countertop space, and tons of storage, including a giant walk-in closet. Yes, I do care a lot about where I put my clothes. I had mixed feelings about the location. It was right across from Prospect Park, which is a huge selling point, but otherwise it was quite far from the city and only had 1 subway line and almost no grocery stores or other conveniences in the area. They also had additional storage you could rent and a pet bath, which was a nice touch.
So a lot happened yesterday. Albie and I had decided that the second apartment we had seen was actually a really good fit. We both loved it. And I texted the landlord, told him, you know, hey, like, let me know what you need from me to get this process started. And so he texted me yesterday and said, hey, can we FaceTime? So around midday, we had a nice little chat. I wasn't really sure if he had other people in mind that he also wanted to talk to. And we moved on to another unit, which is south of Prospect Park, so a little bit farther out in Brooklyn. This apartment was so lovely. There was only one subway line. It was within 5 minutes, which is good. But, you know, if that's ever down, that's a problem. So as we left that apartment, we still hadn't heard back from that first landlord. And, you know, we talked about it and said, well, maybe we should put an application for this one if we really like it, because application fee is only like $20 and it gives you a hold on the apartment for 24 hours. So we thought about it on our way home. And once we got home, still hadn't heard back from the other guy. I texted the broker, asked for the application link. And as I was reading it, it said that there would be 1 month's broker fee. I totally forgot the broker's fees were a thing again. So when we recalculated this place, it was actually over budget if you include the broker's fee. We were standing there thinking like, okay, do we still want to apply to this? Is it still worth it? Because that's a lot of money. And right before we decide that, you know, sure, we'll still submit for it, I get a text back and he says, hey, sorry, I was talking to another couple earlier and they really made the case for being in New York for 2 years. Is that something you would consider? And I looked at Albie, who's sitting next to me as I was reading this, and I'm like, we said we were gonna do New York for another year. If we get this apartment, we have to commit to 2 years. And he gets up, he starts pacing the floor. Takes probably about 30 seconds to think, looks at me, and we both say, let's do it. So I literally text him back and I say, okay, drive a hard bargain, but if a 2-year lease is what it takes, then we're in. And he was like, you know what? I really liked your vibe, so I will go with you guys. What? I guess we found our dream apartment and we're officially gonna be in New York for 2 years instead of 1. Still processing that, but I'm excited. Honestly, I would prefer to be here for longer than a year. I think you need more time to really get settled into a neighborhood and feel like home is home. And given how nomadic I have been for the last few years, I think that'll be nice to be settled somewhere for a little bit. Yeah, I'm still processing it all. In less than 48 hours, I mean, we're done. It was a very stressful 48 hours. At least it turned out okay. But don't worry, I'm still gonna bring you guys around as we move in and start furnishing the place and all that good stuff. So we're still gonna be doing some New York apartment content because that doesn't happen overnight. Even though we nailed down our new apartment already, this is really just the beginning of moving back and getting settled into the city again. So if you wanna join along, feel free to subscribe, and otherwise I will see you guys in the next one.
I may promise, but it's 2 to 1. Before the week is out, I'll stray. But strength and